Okay, so I studied mathematics here in Colombia at the University of Los Andes. Then I went to Brazil. I did my PhD in applied mathematics at the institute which is called IMPA. It's a very nice place to do mathematics in Latin America, and it's very well known in the mathematics community. And then I went to UCLA. I spent a couple of years there. I was a visiting professor. I did part of my dissertation there. And then I went to JP Morgan. I learned a bit about investment banking. I did also research actually there for fixed income for Latin America. Then I came back to the central bank, and it's like the Fed. And that was a wonderful place to land. I mean, after 7 years out of the country, and I became a research economist there. And all of a sudden, I realized that I was not doing what I wanted to do, and I wanted to do mathematics. So I went to the University of Los Andes as a professor, although I moved to the Faculty of Economics, which was a bit more natural given that I was at the central bank. So, and well, at the end, I stayed there because they were very nice with me. So I've been there for 17 years as a professor. And when I landed at the University of Los Andes, I realized that, okay, that I was going to do, or at least had the freedom to do whatever I wanted. But the faculty was not going to give me this opportunity to do mathematics. So I started doing mathematics, and I just started a company, and the company has now 14 years, Quantil. This is pretty much, I think, Natalia. Is that okay?
Yep.
Yeah,
Short
definitely,
enough?
Albert. And very, very impressive career. And I guess we can understand why Natalia definitely saw you were fit for this interview. Very amazing going from all those careers. And I guess as you know, like one of the key things we want to touch on for this interview is really trying to get a bit more in depth in your leadership skills. So I guess throughout all that career, we wanted to understand, what do you think is a good leader, and what do you think are the main characteristics a leader, like a really good leader, has across all of the experience you had?
Wow, that's sometimes it's very personal. I met some great people that were not that leaders for everyone. So they just, they were inspiring. I could see in them the real passion, the real love for what they did, transparency. But they wouldn't talk too much. Sometimes they wouldn't be too loud, outspoken. So I have to say there is a lot of personal, a lot of, what is a leader? It's something which is very personal. Sometimes for me, these people were the great leaders. And so when I said, for example, I moved from the central bank and I realized that I wanted to become to really do mathematics, is because I had these wonderful conversations with a friend of mine that was arriving from Brown, and he pretty much, brought me again to mathematics. So he was a leader for me, because I really, kind of appreciated his way of looking at things, and he was very deep, and as I said, very shy in a sense. So it was very personal, and as him, I met 3 or 4 people in my life that changed me, and those were my leaders. So that's one thing. I now, on more from my side, Natalia believes, I don't know how, that I have been a leader in somehow in our company. And when I think what has made me, sort of succeed, and at least we are doing well, and we live from what we do, and we have 35 people working with us. That's kind of, it's not small for being sort of a consulting firm in Colombia, and especially what we do mathematics. So that we've kind of, managed to survive for 14 years. So first thing I realized is almost everything is passion. I found And those words, the modern words for this, I learned them much later because I had no idea about doing a business and stuff like that. So I really love the mathematics. I eat mathematics and I love doing mathematics everywhere. So that kind of, I found a way of making this, part of what I could give people in a sense to motivate them to do that. I learned of many people doing pure math that were not motivated enough. So what I was doing could motivate them because I could tell them, look, this is fantastic. Don't feel shy. There is no reason to feel yourself like different. Even from at high school. I mean, today I'm at the board of my high school school, and I try to bring this idea that being a mathematician is wonderful. So a lot of passion, and that aligns my personal life with the company. So that's, I think, a very lucky position. And then, well, this is kind of purpose in a sense for in a modern way of, or a corporate way of talking. So I found purpose in what I was doing, and I defined purpose as doing mathematics. So that has been the most important thing by far. And then, some other key ideas to make things succeed has been, first, treating very well and admiring my employees, giving them all the credit I can, even if I have to exaggerate a bit. I mean, it's really, and also sometimes they don't give me credit, and I get a little bit, worried about it. But I just stay, I just don't say anything, and it's giving them credit, and pushing them to the limit and make them feel. And it's actually the case that they are the guys that are doing everything, and they are doing everything. And so I've learned to be thankful. That's something, the difference, total difference.
Very long question. When you were saying that you try to convince and to tell people that what you do is so possible, that don't feel ashamed because of the liking mathematics or everything. So how do you transmit that credibility to the team? So how do you build that credibility for people to believe that what you're saying is true?
Well, I think at the very beginning, it's very difficult. It's, when I started, I had no, experience to tell that you could succeed doing mathematics, and that you could do interesting things for society, that you could impact. All those things were just sort of a dream or whatever. So there was no way of doing it in a sense. But after years and having one person that liked what I was doing, and having a nice employee that was helping me, and then having a nice partner with whom I am today, that Diego, and starting to do things really that you could show people. And then all of a sudden, you realize that you are becoming, like a bit of important for some people, for some clients. And then they see you seriously, that you can transform their business, or you can have social impact. And we have done so many projects at this point that when people come, I just had a conversation with a person that recently graduated from mathematics. He was doing something I didn't want to do. He was working for an investment firm. And I just called him, and he told him about our firm. He already knew what we did, and he immediately quit. I mean, I want to do that. I want to have impact. I'm a mathematician. I don't want to do something that is unrelated. So now, Natalia, the answer is, this is what we have done. And try to convey people that they can do it too.
Alvaro, thank you so much for this interview. My name is Ricardo, and I wanted to touch on a little bit more on the motivation part of your speech earlier. I'm curious because my sense is that human beings usually have their highs and their lows, and motivation is a big part of that in whether they're when they are starting a job and they are like a few months into the job, they are super motivated, they're working, they're very happy. Those issues that you like have in Quantio. But once there might be some situations that employees start to losing that motivation, and I'm wondering how you as a leader try to remotivate them again, if that's an accurate word to use. And how do you like work with those employees that once were very motivated, but now because of X and Y reason, they've been like decreasing in their motivation?
Sure, Ricardo, thanks for the question because it's really, I mean, finding purpose in life, it's not an easy task. And I can see people that get motivated, as you said, maybe for a couple of months, and maybe they realize that maybe it's too technical what we do, that they can make more money outside, which is always, a big issue. We cannot pay salaries as McKinsey. And we cannot pay salaries today as many US companies which are hiring our tech employees. So it's a very tough competition. So, but I mean, there's one thing for sure. One has to find purpose, and I did it, and I suffered for not doing what people. I was offered a job, at an investment bank. What I was saying before. Saying no was a very clear, confirmation that I wanted something different in my life. So I get these kids start growing, and all of a sudden maybe they get very interested, and if they don't, one thing I learned, and I discussed this with some of my most my most close ex-employees that have worked with me, and today they are doing a PhD or like Natalia doing her MBA, is that what we really do is to help people to find their place in mathematics, if that's what they want. Now, if they definitely don't want that, well, I can try to motivate them, but it's not the point. I lost 2 people recently. They wanted to do something different. They went to an investment bank. So there was no reason to be in Quantil if they wanted to do investment banking. So it's fine. It's fine. Now, those sort of people that get unmotivated is because they don't have had a chance to find their place in our company or in mathematics, in a sense. So the other kind of people that start, like thinking about, and this is incredible, and I'm not sure if you guys have seen this before with the people that you guys talk, but I've seen employees today that they ask me, why are we working for an oil and gas company? And I say, okay, wait. I mean, the gas and oil company, it's our best client. Now, I understand that we all care about the environment, but then it becomes like a difficult thing to motivate people to work for our best client. And at the same time, I start thinking, well, maybe I'm not sure if I should work for them. Is it that I should work for the biggest oil company in the country? And it's a big thing. So, I mean, I have many ways of, thinking about that. I know that we should work for them and that we should help them to become better companies, not just to close our doors and say we don't work with that people. We have actually to work with them, make them better. But to transmit this to kids, to my employees, takes time, I need to bring people from this company to talk to them. We have to make, like a whole ceremonial thing to really become interested again. So those you can manage those ones. The other ones, you can't.
Now that's very interesting, Albert. I think along those lines of motivation, there's something that we have been basically seeing that it's also very important is creating community within your workplace. So I guess one thing we wanted to understand is, do you feel that within Quantil you have been able to create a community? And if so, how were you able to build on that community?
Well, I think even Natalia could answer that better because I have been pretty much online for 14 years with most of my employees because I lived in another city. Most of the employees are in Bogota. I live here for family reasons, personal reasons, and but I did notice that due to the good management of at the time Natalia and the people that today run the administrative part of the company, they have managed to, and my partner is also like very close to the employees. So I noticed that they are kind of good friends, all of them. I cannot say that I am, I participate a lot of that. I've made wonderful relationships, friendships, professional with my employees and my partner, but I am not the guy that has tailored this, friendship or community that they have. They do have it. I really appreciate that. It's not me that has tailored that.
That's very interesting, and I guess something pretty tied to that, and perhaps I think it's worth getting perhaps a few thoughts on you how it's worked being in a community where it's a consulting type of job. We have found that many of the times it's very difficult to build that community. What do you think that especially Quantil with your leadership, also with your partners, what is it special that they have been able to get to a place where basically Quantil is able to establish that community?
So now the community, what makes us different is the way I see things, because internally, I am not the guy that has built these wonderful relationships that I see around. Now, externally, I think we are clearly different and it's something that you have to be, obsessive about it. You have to pay for it. You have to have, purpose. When you say my company has a scientific interest, every one of us, we are different because we care about academics. We care about science. We are a company that loves science. And then, that brings many talented people, and we actually live for that. We have seminars, we have papers, we have discussions intellectually. I think we have a very nice place to grow, and that makes us very different to the rest of the companies, even not only the consulting firm, especially the consulting firms were totally different. It makes us different to the technology firms. We have our own technology unit today, and they like the fact that we do research and we really put some effort, money, time to do research just for the fun of doing it. And that's, I think, something that makes us very different.
In the sense of creating community, you said that probably you're not the one that creates like the friendships among the team, but you create a community among your team, like a professional community among your team, because everybody always is like have this feeling of responsibility about doing things well and like carrying the project as if it was a personal goal, and that stewardship, if that is the correct word, it's something that you create and that you transmit the employees. How do you make people feel that each project is kind of a personal goal too, like make them work for every project as if they have to, even if they have to work very hard, like to keep the responsibility on during the whole project?
Yes, that's incredible. There are some people here that they just work and they do it no matter how hard it is. We recently had an incredible experience working with the gas and oil company, that these kids had to work every night for 10 days. And that was terrible. But still they did it. And I was not there to wake them up and ask them, hey, you have to do it. No, never. They just did it. So one thing is that we try to work in very interesting things. So they really get motivated by what we do. So the projects are nice. Some of them are really interesting. So they really find like, I'm doing something that helps. I've heard of them. I want to do something that has an environmental impact, that's a social impact. So I try to bring them at least part-time to this project so that they get involved. And once they are there, these people are, they are doing what they want. So they do it no matter what. I am also transparent when I say them, look, this project is not that interesting, but we need to do it. I mean, we need to fund all the nice things we do. Research, nobody's paying us for that. So we need to fund this somehow. So they pretty much, kind of in personal or, with their friends or the company, I don't know what, they just say, yes, let's do it. And they do it until the end and very well done. But I'm transparent with people and try to motivate them to help others and us, to help them, all of us trying to help us to build something that is sustainable. We cannot do only nice and wonderful things. So,
Sure.
Maybe let me change gears a bit, Alvaro, and maybe jump into a topic is thinking more when there's adversity and certain challenges that come along. And obviously understanding that in the consulting world, this happens pretty soon and happens a lot when you're basically doing these projects. And perhaps something that we wanted to understand is, what are the strategies that you use, for example, when a project is not moving along as expected? What are those tools that you employ basically to make sure that if perhaps something is not going the right way as you expected at first, you basically help the team get to the correct path?
That's a very difficult one, because one thing that I don't have as a leader is that I don't have any, kind of methodology for pretty much anything. So, but first thing is that I always know about every project. I always know a bit. Every week, I have a meeting in which we go through all projects, just to know how things are going, etc., etc. The rest of the week, I pretty much don't talk with people about projects except particular things, that we need to make meetings to understand, etc. But so there is this meeting which really puts me, on alert of something going on. And now we always have at least 2 researchers in every project. So it's 2, 3, or 4. There is a project that has 8 people. So, but nobody alone, always a director. So, 2 researchers and a director. And, among them, you can always get, like alerts. I always tell them, if things are not going to work, please let me know now. So I'm very kind of, I work a lot on that, on having alerts at the time we need them so we can do something. And when they come, I jump into the project. So but in the sense that I try to help them because they know more than me many times. I mean, if they are coding, there can be problems with coding, but I have no idea how to solve it. Now, if it's a technical thing, like math or something, usually I can help them. But if there is something I can do, so I meet with them and I start, being very, I ask them very seriously, do we need to hire someone? Do we need to bring someone else from the team? Do I need to talk to the client? Try to that the solution comes from them. If they need help, I give them everything. Resources, people, computing power. I talk to the client. if I have to tell the client, you know, you guys are, you know, you are not treating well my team, I do that for them. And so we get to manage this in a very sincere conversations that bring actionable things that I have to take care of.
And talking about the pandemic, that it was hard time for everyone in personal aspects too, like it was tough. What did you learn from the pandemic as a leader, like as a manager of a company that had to go through these times?
I think, Natalia, it's not only because of the, you know, the crisis we all faced. In general, all respect and all responsibility that people have with you is in a sense related to your example. If you give the example to them, people, you know, they try to help you. So what happened during the pandemic? During the pandemic, my partner and me, we stopped paying our salaries. We did a meeting and we told everyone, guys, we are going to be the guys that we are today. We are going to be the same no matter what. We are going to face it with the people we have. Nobody's going out from the company. We are not going to pay ourselves anymore, but you guys are going to get paid as every month we've done. And I think that was very nice for them. If you guys need money, we had a credit line for 1, 2, or 3 people that really need it. That happened actually. And, you know, we started to work like hell to find more work, to, you know, to do more commercial activities, you know, by just calling friends, etc., etc. We took every job we could, you know, even small ones. And we were very lucky. After 2 months, we were doing better than any time in our lives, in our company. So after 2 months, we started paying our salaries. And then, you know, people were very, you know, thankful that we all had managed to keep together. And so the short answer is, in a sense, we were an example for everyone, and they helped us.
Cool.
That's very interesting, Alvaro. And I think really to close off this really interesting interview, I guess the last thing we wanted to understand and perhaps get more your advice is, for us, the future leaders, what advice do you have for us? What do you think are the things that we should be thinking for in the future if you want to become really successful leaders as you are at this moment?
Well, in a sense, that's easy to answer, hard to make it happen. And it's not what everybody does, but, you know, I found a way of doing of everything I do in my life, you know, is something that had the same north. You know, I had this passion, and I've managed to build a way of living around it. And I, you know, motivate my kids. My wife finds all this very weird, but she finds interesting that somebody loves something so much. And that makes things easier. I mean, I just do what I want, and I'm willing to push it all the way. So it's not only for a leader, for everyone. In a sense, I just say, look, try to find what, you know, what really moves you, and then it's more easy to become a leader.
Well, thank you very much for those words of wisdom, Alvaro. And well, for our side, I think we have all the questions we had. And well, thank you a lot for your time. It really has been very insightful, and certainly it will help us a lot for basically all of this investigation and this work research we're doing on understanding successful leaders.
Yes, I would close with something that my wife always repeats to me. which is, you know, something she read about the way of keeping marriage, you know, up for a long, long time. So she always told me, just be kind, and you know,
That
and
is
things
true.
will work.
That is
Wise
true.
words.
Good words.
Thank you so much, Alvaro.
Alberto, thank you.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank
Take
you
care.
so much.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Well, that's it.
All right, team.
Thank you. Bye.